Come check out my workflow to go from a data model design drawing to a completed pipeline only using LLMs. This is with a real project with real data on a real business. Come check it out. One of the things that has boosted my learning with using AI over the past several months is watching YouTube videos of people vibe coding apps. From what I found, there isn't too much on data engineering, and of those that there are, it's kind of like pet project type of things and not real life scenarios. So I wanted to contribute one of my own through my own exploration and trial and error doing this stuff. So just 2 days ago on Friday, I feel like I kind of cracked a new level in terms of my own data design and data engineering workflow, and I was messing around with it. I was so excited I started messing around with it kind of like all night and into Saturday. So what I was working on was our Questa Partners, that's where I work, our internal data project. So I serve as the, let's call it the data modeler or data architect on that project, of which I spend a very minimal amount of time on it because one of the things about being part of a growing consulting company is that we all need to be revenue producing and we all need to be billing. So this project is really just off the side of my desk, and I just kind of like pop in here and there between meetings and tasks to contribute. So this new use case, I had to design the data model around it and then create instructions for our data engineers to go build it. And obviously I'm trying to do that as efficiently as possible. So I started using AI for the design, then to starting to write the instructions, and then it started to snowball. I found all the kind of connections between a couple of the JIRA MCP and then the Keboola MCP, Keboola being the data platform that our data project is built on. And I was able to implement this thing end to end, from like nothing all the way to a transformation that's submitted for review, all using chat interfaces and MCPs. So you're gonna get to see that in a moment. So here I ended up recreating the whole series of steps as a demo. So I opened some fresh chat windows and just recorded my screen. I took some shortcuts, and I didn't explore the data as much as I would normally have. There was a whole 12-minute segment that I had to cut because I was fumbling with cursor and trying to implement the code into Keboola. I ended up telling it to just give me the code, and I copy pasted it into Keboola myself. But I was still able to go really far, having actually touched the data platform, and except through chat interfaces. So I thought it was totally mind-blowing and eye-opening for me to see how far I could get. And so I hope you enjoy it. Last thing, if I hadn't made enough caveats already, I should point out the dollar amounts. Like everything is real data. It's coming from our actual systems. But the dollar amounts have been highly manipulated, so that kind of like keeps everyone's or our data private. So yeah, let's pop over to the video. So here we are with our data model. I'm going to be building the payroll table. So it has a payroll ID, an amount, a whoopsie there. I'm deleting the column. We don't need that. And it points to the day. There's also project and employee, but we don't need those. So those are in dotted lines. So that's the table that we're going to build from our model. And now I'm going to be doing some exploration within Keboola on the table. So I ask it to go into Keboola and look into the QuickBooks table. I think that's what I said. Yeah, from QuickBooks, what table is the payroll, or what table is the payroll table found? Okay, that didn't even make sense, but looks like it understood what I was going for, which was, yeah, there we go, found the journal entry payroll table, and now it's doing a bunch of exploratory analysis. So I mean, before this, definitely the model planning I mean, that lives outside of AI. That's not even like touching any code or any data at all. When we do our data modeling at Questa, it's interviews with the business, understanding the business, talking with them on how things actually flow in their operations, and drawing out a target data model. Here I'm opening up Cursor, so later I'm going to be using Cursor for the actual implementation and doing the transformation. So I opened up a few chat windows because I like to do multi-chat, or actually I should say that's totally brand new. I just figured that out yesterday. But I'm queuing up the JIRA MCP and warming it up. Okay, so looks like here it's done the analysis. I highlighted there's a posting type for debit and credit. I know that that's something to look out for, especially with journal tables. I see there's a contract labor thing. I think I was deciding whether to include that or not. I think I decided to actually include it. So now I want to create a fact table for labor costs. Are there any filters I should apply on the table to exclude rows that would not contribute to it? Okay, so yeah, like journal tables can be a little bit tricky, and frankly, I just don't even know what's in there. So I just want to double check. I give it my intent and see what it comes back with. So yeah, one of the things that I don't love with Claude is you're kind of just sitting here waiting. And that's why in Cursor, what I showed earlier, I had a few different chat windows. Yeah, I had a few different chat windows because like you're kind of waiting for like 1 to 3 minutes per kind of action, especially on some of the MCP stuff. Okay, so it's saying to filter for only posting type debits, exclude manual adjustments. Sure, that's a second point. Third point here, consider the date range. Okay, remove 2020 because that's when Questa started, so 2021 was our first year. Sure. Exclude null categories. That one I didn't really like. That seems a little bit unreasonable to remove some debits where a category is null. Okay, so now let's say I like this and I agree with it. You know, in typical circumstance, I'm gonna get into the data more. I would actually open up Snowflake and double check this stuff myself. But for demo purposes, let's just take most of what Claude recommends. I say to write me up a PM ticket. I just want to give it a draft, so I don't want it to start creating the JIRA ticket yet. I want to review it first. So I say to create a ticket in my PM system and help me write it. Give the columns that I want. Later on, when we implement it, actually picks up a few source system columns like last updated, timestamp, and loaded at timestamp. I said for the filters, take 1, 2, and 3, but ignore 4, which was those null categories. Okay, so now it's building the ticket, and in the meanwhile, I'm double checking my cursor rules here. This is some actually those are where the rules for adding the additional timestamps are, but it turns out that didn't work very well, so I end up skipping it later, or I should say deleting it later. Okay, so it created the ticket. It said what to expect, how many records, some of the business logic. It has the keys. Actually, it did a cool thing there where the table itself, it doesn't have an ID column, so you have to concatenate two columns, entry ID and line ID. It actually had it there real quick. And then, okay, so some validation and testing afterwards and acceptance criteria. So it's pretty cool. And at the end there, it actually says estimated effort 2 to 3 days, which we're going to find out is not going to be quite the case. Okay, so now that if I'm happy with the ticket, and I have gone in and edited it before, but in this case, let's just take it. I say, use the Atlassian MCP to go into the CIP project and create this ticket and assign it to myself. And so it goes ahead and does that. So yeah, what I was saying earlier with the cursor was that again, just like right now when we're waiting, um, with Claude, you can only do one action at a time, but with Cursor, because there's multiple chats, and here you can see that it created the ticket. Because there's multiple chats, you can do a few things at once, and so I start kicking off actually multiple transformations, or while I'm waiting for it to develop, I'm creating new tickets in my JIRA. Okay, so can you check for the ticket that's assigned to Marcus Wong? Not and done. Okay, yeah, so this, I like to list the tickets that I'm working on, so I kind of have that open, and in a normal circumstance I would probably start working on all four. Okay, so we're skipping ahead here. It attempted to create the transformation in Keboola. It was having a bunch of formatting issues actually, so I ended up just telling it to give me the query, and I'm going to go in. You can see how it's formatted there. It was pretty bad, but this was what it was attempting to do actually, and yeah, that's it created like a very beautiful transformation. That's exactly how I wanted it formatted. I gave it a bunch of rules for the formatting. It created the DDL first. It's creating a couple of different transformation blocks. I did a little bit of small input and output configuration there. Keboola, it's sometimes with AI, you try and prompt it to do the smallest things and it takes forever. It's just a lot easier to do things manually sometimes, so I just for some of those small settings I just handle it on my own. Okay, so we run into an error here. I'm just used to some of the quirks with Keboola, and I realized that there's some case sensitivity stuff, so had to fix that. And this time it will finish. Okay, so now I'm saying after it ran successfully, I can see, sorry, I'm going quick, but on the side, there's like a job notification that's marked green, so I know it succeeded. And now I'm saying, okay, go take a look at that transformation. I pointed out the configuration, and yeah, since I edited it, I wanted to make sure that it knew exactly how I left it. And now I'm saying, okay, now take a look at the ticket again. It has a bunch of validation rules, which, Claude wrote. And I want it to actually make those checks now. And so it's doing a bunch of queries in order to do those validation checks. Looks like a bunch of them are passing, except that last one fails. So, I mean, look, like, it went pretty far end to end. We see one test failed. It says 123 records with non-positive amounts, meaning they're less than zero. Once it finishes, it ends up that it's actually just, they're not less than zero, they're actually just $0 amounts. So that's something that obviously can have someone look into, or myself. It depends. It depends on the situation. In any real circumstance, I mean, I think it depends on your team. So in my case, I'm spending minimal amount of time on this project because it's an internal project. I should be, I'm mostly just working on client stuff. So I'm just doing the stuff in between meetings and stuff like that. But like I have a team of analysts and engineers that are kind of like driving this project. So I'm going to be handing this over to them so that they can they can do the checks. Like after this, I could probably tell Cursor to say shoot the test results into a comment into that ticket, and mark instructions for what to do for investigation as a follow-up. I will say that the problem that this workflow has for myself is that it's really far from the data itself. So like it looks really sexy that it did a bunch of data analysis, and I could just ask it, like what to filter and kind of do this stupid thing. But like definitely, I don't feel great about. I don't feel confident about what it built, and so I will say that like, in a way, I do like that early kind of EDA just to kind of get the lay of the land of the data, but it's hard to imagine. I really can't imagine handing that over right now, and I don't know what changes in order for me to go ahead and trust AI to go do that. But like, I need a feel for the data so that I actually feel confident about what it's going in and building. So I don't know if that means like looking and just like revalidating what it's building. But I think it just has to like come back from first principles. I don't think I could just like hop in to the ticket and say, did it follow the ticket correctly? I think it goes back to, was the ticket correctly written? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what this completely means. I think certainly I'm going to be using lots of parts of this to integrate into my whole workflow, and it really changes my perspective and how I work. And certainly it boosts productivity by a lot. I don't think it's going to be 15-minute tasks every time, but the estimate said 2 or 3 days. That's probably way too long for what this task would normally take, but certainly like I imagine it reduces time by like a significant amount. So yeah, I hope you learned something, and it was a lot of fun for me exploring this stuff.